Hi, hello and welcome. And I'm going to be giving you a quick update on a couple of things that are going to be happening on the 20th and the 21st. And then I'll be coming back in on the weekend in a couple of days to give you an update about what's going to be happening because we're going into eclipse season. So we'll be doing that on the weekend. But right now, I just want to give you a little bit of an update on the 20th and the 21st. So some of us might be feeling a bit tired, some of us might be feeling a bit out of sorts, and some of us might find ourselves oscillating a little bit. And the reason for that, the reason we're having that, is because Venus is entering Aquarius on the 20th, and then after that, on the 21st December, we've got the Sun entering Capricorn, and we've got Chiron that's moving direct, of course. So anyone who's feeling a little bit tired, that's Chiron. Just taking a little bit of a time to settle us in emotionally, because right now we're just not settled. That's just Chiron. So just breathe, just go with it. If you're feeling a little bit tired, have a rest. If you're feeling really full of energy, just go and do whatever you need to do to work out, to release that. So just play with the energies and just go with them, and don't worry about it too much. It's just this settling in period. When we get these planets, remember I talked to you about when these planets are in their early stages of either going from, Chiron, okay, it's not a planet, it's an asteroid, but when it's going from stationary to direct, or direct to going backwards, what happens is you get this churning of energy, and our responses to that as a result of that are very different. And Chiron is all about our emotions, and particularly our hurt. So there might just be a few things coming up emotionally that we need to deal with. Just acknowledge them, and as soon as you say what it is, they will start to dissipate. That's certainly what happens with me. As soon as I say, oh, this is about that, this is about this, that's about this, I just name them. So an example came up about failure. I don't normally think of myself as a failure, but this is what came up. I was feeling really unsettled and quite emotional about something, and I went, oh, this is all about feelings associated and associating myself with failure. So I just needed to go in and have a look at that. And that's all part of the healing process. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what's going to be happening. Venus is going to enter Aquarius. Now, Aquarius, as we all know, is a little bit unconventional, but it is two things. It is the sign of truth, deep, dark, real truths. That's Aquarius. I mean, Aquarius likes to name things and to be quite brutal sometimes in their honesty. It's also about freedom of expression, which ties in nicely with the naming. It's about being faithful. And what's nice about those three things, or the truthful, the freedom of expression, the faithfulness, is that sits nicely with Capricorn, with the Sun in Capricorn. The things, though, that are going to be contrary to the Sun in Capricorn is the unconventionalism, the intrigue about things that are not usual. We are unbelievably fair in Aquarius, the Venus in Aquarius. We're very unselfish, and we are very impartial. So that's all things that sit with Aquarius, not so much things that sit with the Sun in Capricorn. Capricorn is about responsibility. With the Sun in Capricorn, it's about ambition. So we're going to be wanting and feeling this ambition. And what's going to be interesting about that ambition, this feeling of ambition, and Aquarius being unconventional, is we've had all this work leading up to authentic self. So there's going to be this tossing around with expression around who are we and how are we now defining our success, which has probably got to do with me having to have a good look at why the word failure popped up so many times into my mind. And it's about having a look at our established frameworks and our boundaries. Now, this is where we're going to have a little bit of conflict with Venus in Aquarius, because that's not about established frameworks. It's about challenging established frameworks, and it's about challenging boundaries. Okay, so that's what's going to be happening with the Sun moving into Capricorn and Venus entering into Aquarius. Now, because this is quite a little quick update, I'm also going to do the tarot and do all that nicely together. So this is all about personal. And I'm using the Good Tarot. And quite interestingly, you know, I didn't actually want to buy the Good Tarot. And what's fascinating about that is I actually ended up with 2 packs. So quite interesting. Okay, very, very nice. Okay, I was going to say no, but they've said yes. Okay. Very interesting. All right. Underlying is the Ten of Fire, and we had that last time. So this is saying that it's in the end of us in our relationship to the world and how we see ourselves in our relationship to the physical world, which has been a bit of a continuing theory. And this would explain why we're going to be having a look at our boundaries and having those challenged, and ourselves challenging our own boundaries, which is more important. So it's a whole big thing about our boundaries about who we are and our boundaries about behavior and acceptability and consequences for non-acceptability. Okay, such as failure. Okay, so straight out we've got love. How fantastic. Major Arcana. 7. Unicorn, we've had this a lot. This is about believing in possibilities and believing that we can have a new format of ourselves in this world. And I think that's important. Followed by the Queen of Fire. And the Queen of Fire is us. And look at that. Heart is enlarged. And that's interesting because the Queens are all about supporting us in terms of our emotional perspective, but this is our emotional perspective and being in contact with that when we think about ourselves in the larger world, in the physical being. So we've got the card of change, the Ten of Fire as our underlying energy, and then we've got believing and having strength, and here we are having nurturing our new sense of self. So there's a nurturing process that's being called upon. Interesting, because we're coming up to the eclipses. We've actually got the Hanged Man. It's a beautiful vision of the Hanged Man, a little bit in free form. So this is actually saying to us right now, a lot of stuff is not clear, and I think it's not necessarily time to act. I think let's use Capricorn and Aquarius to test out different scenarios and let's see what the new me is going to look like. Transformations. So it's a time of transformation, and I think one of the things about transformation is it is, of course, an active time, but one of the really big things about transformations is it's not all about go, 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 go. You need these down times to allow the spiritual and energetic transformation to take place on the physical realm. So just give yourself a little bit of space. And also, I think Christmas is actually quite stressful, and so is New Year for a lot of people. So just be generous for yourself. And we've got some new messages coming up, and I think that's going to be really, really delightful. So this is saying there is change, and we're in the midst of change, but don't be in too much of a hurry for that change to take place. It's happening, and it's coming together really nicely. It's coming together how it should, but don't push it. Allow, encourage, be open, but don't force or push the change. Okay, take care. Talk to you soon.